Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna. A auspicious good morning, Gaura morning to all the assembled Vaishnavas. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्यमीश्वरं हरिः ओं तत्सत्. Hare Krishna, today we will be going through the verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter, 11th verse. It is very, very important verse. Srila Jiva Goswami, one of the 6 Goswamis, he is a very scholar, very erudite scholar, and all the Goswamis appreciates him, blessed him. Jiva Goswami is very short, younger of all the Goswamis. Of course, Gopal Bhatta Goswami is the also youngest one. But next to that is Jiva Goswami. He wrote Shat Sandarpas, very famous. These are all. Those are all explaining the tattva of Lord Sri Krishna. So that Jiva Goswami in one of the Sandarpas, Bhagavad Sandarpa or Paramatma Sandarpa, he mentioned about Lord Krishna as the Bhagavan. For that he wrote 700 pages of the description of the absolute Lord Sri Krishna based on this verse only. Based on this verse, today's verse, Srila Jiva Goswami wrote 700 pages of description of Lord to prove that he is the Bhagavan. He is the absolute truth. Sri Krishna is the absolute truth. So such an important verse, please read. And this whole chapter is very important. Almost 15 to 17 verses are there to memorize. Such an important chapter. Whatever you are coming across from past 4-5 weeks, those are all important verses to memorize. And this is also very important verse. Okay, if you can repeat, you can repeat. Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, second chapter, 11th verse. Vadanti tat tattvavidas.
Vadanti tattvavidas.
Tattvam yejnanamadvayam.
Tattvam
यज्ञानमध्ययम्
ब्रह्मेति परमात्मेति
ब्रह्मेति परमात्मेति
भगवानिति सेव्यते
भगवानिति सज्जते
वदन्ति तत्तत्त्वविदस्
वदन्ति तत्तत्त्वविदः
तत्त्वं यज्ञानमद्वयम्
तत्त्वं यज्ञानमद्वयम्
ब्रह्मेति परमात्मेति
ब्रह्मेति परमात्मेति
भगवानिति सेव्यते
भगवानिति सज्जते
One more time. वदन्ति तत्तत्त्वविदस्
वदन्ति तत्तत्त्वविदः
तत्त्वं यज्ञानमद्वयम्
तत्त्वं यज्ञानमद्वयम्
ब्रह्मेति परमात्मेति
ब्रह्मेति परमात्मेति
भगवानिति सेव्यते.
भगवानिति सज्जते.
Word to word translation. Vadanti, they say. Tat, that. Tattvavidaha, the learned souls. Tattvam, the absolute truth. Yat, which. Gnanam, knowledge. Advayam, non-dual. Brahma iti, known as Brahman. Paramatma iti, known as Paramatma. Bhagavan iti, known as Bhagavan. Shabdyate, it so sounded. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paramatma or Bhagavan. Purport. The absolute truth is both subject and object, and there is no qualitative difference there. Therefore, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan are qualitatively one and the same. The same substance is realized as impersonal Brahman by the students of the Upanishads, as localized Paramatma by the Hiranyagarbhas or the yogis, and as Bhagavan by the devotees. In other words, Bhagavan or the personality of Godhead is the last word of the absolute truth. Paramatma is the partial representation of the personality of Godhead, and impersonal Brahman is the glowing effulgence of the personality of Godhead. As the sun rays are to the sun god, less intelligent students of the either of the above schools sometimes argue in favor of their own respective realization. But those who are perfect seers of the absolute truth know well that the above three features of the one absolute truth are different perspective views seen from different angles of vision. As it is explained in the first sloka of the first chapter of the Bhagavatam, the supreme truth is self-sufficient, cognizant, and free from the illusion of relativity. In the relative world, the knower is different from the known. But in the absolute truth, both the knower and the known are one and the same thing. In the relative world, the knower is the living spirit or superior energy, whereas the known is inert matter or inferior energy. Therefore, there is a duality of inferior and superior nature. Whereas in the absolute realm, both the knower and the known are of the same superior energy. There are three kinds of energies of the supreme energetic. There is no difference between the energy and energetic, but there is a difference of quality of energies. The absolute realm and the living entities are of the same superior energy, but the material world is inferior energy. The living being the living being in contact with the inferior energy is illusioned, thinking he belongs to the inferior energy. Therefore, there is the sense of relativity in the material world. In the absolute, there is no such sense of difference between the knower and the known, and therefore everything there is absolute. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तु ते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हे नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते जयपताकस्वामिनिति नामिने नमाचार्यपादाय निताय कृप्रदायिने गौरकथातामदाय नगरग्रामतारिणे नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. So what it is said here, learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paramatma or Bhagavan. So as a little recap, today I will show what happened so far in the Bhagavatam after being started just for few minutes. In the first chapter, all the sages were doing the sacrifice in the Naimisharanya forest. for thousands of years. There Suta Goswami came there, appeared there. Then all the sages were so happy. They honored the seat to Suta Goswami, and they asked the 6 questions, and they are very eager to uh, enlighten the people in the Kali Yuga, because all the sages, they are at the verge of Dwapar Yuga, and they know that in very few years Kali Yuga going to appear. And because Lord Sri Krishna also left the world, they are so much compassionate about the Kali Yuga people. So they were asking for the benefit of Suta Goswami, sorry, for the benefit of Kali Yuga people to the Suta Goswami, how we can, what is the ultimate good, ultimate goal for the people in general, and especially for the people of the Kali Yuga. So they asked, from this session, what we can understand is, when we are asking the questions, we should not ask to show off. I know so many things. So whether let me check whether the speaker know these answers or not. In a attitude of questioning attitude, or challenging attitude, or knowledge attitude, we should not ask any questions. Here, as sages are asking for the benefit of the people in general, for the whole humanity, we should ask the questions, not about some information, how he traveled, which places he traveled. Those are all not useful. So what is the ultimate beneficiary activity, how we can perform devotional service, this kind of questions are very useful for the audience, for the speaker, for the listener, whoever is asking question. So whatever question we are asking, we should see that whether it is beneficiary for all these kinds of audience, for all these kinds of people. Like that, they asked 6 questions, and then in this chapter of second, Suta Goswami is appreciating those questions, and he is answering one by one. When we are in the 11th verse, right? In the sixth and seventh verse, he answered for question 1 and question 2, and later he is answering in this second chapter up to 4 questions. And if you see in the later cantos also, the answer for these 6 questions will be appear in many times. Okay. And if you see in brief what are those 6 questions, what is the absolute and ultimate goal for the people in general? What is the essence of all Vedic scriptures? Why did the Lord appear in the womb of Devaki as the son of Vasudev? And describe the Lord activities in the process of creation. That means as Purushavasaras. And what other Leela Avataras he performed. If you see up to 10th canto, you will see all this answer for this fifth question, Leela Avataras. And when the Lord left the planet, whom did Dharma took shelter? So, when Lord Krishna wound up the pastimes in this Bhumi, in this material world, Dharma, from whom he took shelter. And coming to this next verse, 8th and 9th verses, it is mentioned, Sutta Goswami is explaining very beautifully about the karmis, jnanis, yogis, and bhaktas. And what is the general dharma? If you see the religion, what is dharma? Different people has different types of dharma. We will see a karmi. Of course, he is not a transcendentalist. He is on the material platform, struggling with 3 modes of material nature. So for him, the dharma is following the regulative principles mentioned in the Vedas. For example, we saw from yesterday and day before yesterday class, a karmi means he wants to be a human, proper human, following 4 regulative principles that are mentioned in the Vedas. And his objective, his goal is to go to the higher planets. And when we see a gnani, his dharma, his activity is to control mind and senses. And what he wants to do? He wants to merge in the Brahma Jyoti. We will see many people thinking the Lord as the light. Jyoti. They worship a egg with a lot of effulgence. They don't believe in the feature that Lord will have hands, legs. They are scared. They don't want to worship the Lord in the person and form. And then come to the yogis. What these yogis will do? They will engage always in the yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. So they dedicate their life in following this Ashtanga Yoga, and their objective is to realize Paramatma, four-handed form of Mahavishnu. And they, uh, how when they will achieve, when they get perfection up to the Samadhi state. If suppose when they don't follow the process of eightfold mystic yoga system, they will end up in some powers. That's why we will see in the Himalayas, Rishikesh, Haridwar, they can stay in the Himalayas in the extreme cold without even clothes. So that because they have some powers due to long term meditation, long term practice of this Ashtanga yoga system. So, but they are not gods. People immaturely treat them with their small powers, they consider them as the gods. They are just on the material platform only with some extra powers. That's it. Whereas Bhakta, he will not be infatuated with all these temporary process, but his goal, he is very intelligent, his goal is ultimate objective to attain prema bhakti. Prema bhakti means he wants to remember the Supreme Lord always. If you see Srila Narada Muni, like gopis or the pure devotees, our acharyas, so they are all practicing in this path of bhakti. And what is their dharma? Hearing and chanting constantly. When we see the previous verses, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, Bhagavatir Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So their goal is Nishta Bhakti, means undeviated devotional service, unfluctuated devotional service. They want to have condensed devotion, Nishta Bhakti. Even someone wants to disturb, someone brings some other philosophy, they don't get distracted. They are always focused on this hearing and chanting or reading Srimad Bhagavatam or speaking Srimad Bhagavatam, nothing else. My aim is Ekeha Kurunandana. Only one objective is to reach the Supreme Lord, to go back to Godhead, to remember Him always, to engage in His devotional service constantly. So, this is the ultimate objective rather than all other. And now coming to the today's verse. So here Sutta Goswami is explaining that Lord has three features. We can understand the Supreme Lord in three features. What are that? Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. And one analogy that is mentioned in the purport is, suppose sun is there. But when we get up early in the morning, why we are seeing each other? Of course, there is a tube light. These are all secondary. Just go out of the house and you can still see the other people, other houses. How we are seeing everything? Because of the sun rays. So, a small boy is there. What he is thinking? Sun means the sun rays, that because of which I am seeing everything. That is the ultimate. But the father knows that these sun rays are coming from a sun god. Okay? And he knows that he has his own planet, sun planet. Right? So that means the father is more matured than this small boy. In the same way, a perfect transcendentalist, he knows that Lord doesn't have simple Jyoti, but he has his own planet and he has his own personal feature. For example, taking an object or taking something, take some, for example, a gulab jamun. A gulab jamun, someone is saying that Gulab jamun has a sweet, means as a shape, and it has some flavor, and somebody smelled it, somebody touched it, and somebody saw that gulab jamun. But these are all not complete. If some person takes that gulab jamun, sees that, and puts in the mouth and tastes it, then he will have complete understanding of the gulab jamun, about its form, about its smell, about its touch, texture, about the taste. So, all five features of the gulab jamun completely understood by the person who tasted it. In the same way, if someone says that gulab jamun is just a soft ball, it doesn't have taste, or if gulab jamun has a beautiful smell, that's it. So, nothing more than that. These are all incomplete understandings. That's what it is mentioned here. The Gnanis, they think that impersonalism is the ultimate feature of the absolute truth. They say that there is nothing beyond this Jyoti. Everything is coming out of Jyoti. The so called Lord takes some form out of this Jyoti. He will come here and he will go back and merge in the Jyoti. This is the understanding which is not complete. Anything you take, impersonal feature comes from the personal feature. How can we understand more? Means you're smelling something very pleasant. That means there should be some rose, or there should be some agarbatti, and there should be some perfume sprayed, right? That means impersonal smell is coming from a featured, either rose or agarbatti or something which has a form, right? Suppose you are seeing, you are feeling a cool breeze immediately, and what is that? AC is on. That means the AC machine is generating the impersonal air. So from this basic understanding is, anybody can understand that impersonal feature is coming from something having that personal feature, personal form. So, from this understanding, you can condemn, you can reject that impersonal form is the absolute, ultimate. No, that's wrong. Any impersonal form is coming from the personal feature. So, these yogis, is these jnanis with, we are not saying their understanding is false. We are just saying that their understanding is incomplete. Okay. Then come to the yogis. What these yogis will do? Lord is not in the temple. Lord is not in the Vaikuntha or Goloka. Lord is in everyone's heart. Lord is not anywhere else. This is also not complete understanding. Suppose you are seeing a sun or moon in the sky. You put 1,000 pots of water on the ground, and you can see the reflection in all these 1,000 pots. Does that mean that moon is in the pots only but not in the sky? No, right? Lord is absolute. He can stay in his own planet, and he can also reflect in all these thousands and millions of pots. In the same way, Brahmaji also described the same. Andantarastu paramanu cheyantarastam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Lord is in his abode, but also he is in andanta, in every atom, in every molecule, in every particle. He expanded himself as Paramatma. So in that way, yogi's understanding is also not complete, but at the same time it is not false. They are correct. Paramatma is in everyone's heart, but he is also in the Goloka or Vaikuntha. So like that. And coming to the ultimate understanding is the Bhagavan feature. Bhagavan feature means understanding the Son, God. He is not just the effluence, he is not just as in localized areas, but he has his own planet, he has his own form. That is the understanding. In the same way, understanding Krishna as two-handed Shyamasundara form, always having a Satchit Ananda form, means eternal knowledgeable Bhagavan form, blissful form, who always resides in the Goloka, and also he expand himself as Paramatma in everyone's heart. And this Brahma Jyoti is coming, that is the effulgence coming from his personal feature, personal form. So when someone understands this, his understanding Krishna's personality form, supreme personality of Godhead, that is the complete understanding. And in Bhagavad Gita also, Srila Prabhupada gave one more analogy. Suppose we are traveling, and from the far distance we saw a big mountain or some hill, Tirumala Hill or Appalachian Hills or Simhachalam Hills. We are seeing hills. From the distance, when we see, what we will see? A just shape of a hill. If we go further closer, what we will see? We will see the trees, we will see the houses on those hills, we will see all that. And if we still go closer up to the hill, if there is a person living in that house, we can see him. If their objects, we can see their kitchen, their stove, if there are their kids, everything we can see, all the complete details. So, in the same way, if you see with the partial knowledge, we will think the absolute truth, Bhagavan, ultimate is, we will see only effulgence. If we go further close to that uh, transcendental arena, we can see the Lord's planet. And if we enter the Lord's planet, we can see the Krishna, we can see the Gopals, we can see the cows, we can see the desired trees, Kalpavrikshas, we can see Kamadhenus, Surabhi cows, we can see so many. And when we see all these different objects, we should understand one thing. They are not like just a cow in the material world. In the spiritual world, everything is absolute. A cow, a tree, a bird, everything is as equal as the Supreme Lord in the quality, but not quantity, in the quality. That means everything is for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. We should not consider as an ordinary cow, as an ordinary tree, as an ordinary grass. Everything is absolute because everything is in the meditation of the Supreme Lord. How can I serve Krishna? How can I please Krishna? So, in the spiritual world, that is we are describing in the second paragraph of the purport. In the material world, matter and jiva are different. Suppose this body is different, atma is different. Body is dead once the atma leaves the body. But in the spiritual world, there is no difference between body and atma. They have the spiritual bodies. They don't subjected to the birth, death, old age, disease in the spiritual world. They are all eternal species, eternally. That's why there is no difference between their bodies and atmas, nothing. Their the whole soul is spiritualized. Okay. In the same way, if you see in the material world also, acharyas, they are also on the absolute platform. We should not consider their body as different. Huh? We should respect the bodies also because they are completely utilizing the bodies in the service of the Supreme Lord. That's why we will offer arati, we will offer obeisances, we will respect them as equal as the God. In the morning we wake up the Lord with Gurvastakam. Why? Because through spiritual master only I can understand the Supreme Lord. So in that way, we will respect the Lord and his pure devotees as on the absolute platform. There is no difference. There is no sense of relativity. There is no duality as in the material world, that in the spiritual world. So, but there is a difference in the quality of energies. But here in the material world, energy and energetic are different. In the spiritual world, both are same. Srimati Radharani is same as Krishna. But here in the material world, the Maya, material energy, Srimati Radharani expands herself as the material energy, but there is a little bit difference between the energy and energetic in the material world. But when we are using it in the spiritual purpose, the inferior energy will also become superior energy. Until then, we will be bound up with these energies, with the three modes of material nature, when we are using that energy for our sense gratification. But we are using for the service of Krishna, that energy will also become superior. Okay, with this we will stop here because time is done. There is a lot to explain about this verse, but we don't have time. If you have any questions or concerns, you can ask one or two. Yeah, if there are no questions, we will chant the holy prayers for the well-being of the all the Vaishnavas in this group and all the ISKCON Somerset devotees, and for the welfare of the whole world. We will chant the Narsim Bhagwan prayers. Ugram Veeram Mahavishnum Jwalantam Sarvatomukam Narasimham Bhishanam Bhadram Mrutyum Namamyaham. Ugram Veeram Mahavishnum Jwalantam Sarvatomukam Narasimham Bhishanam Bhadram Mrutyum Namamyaham. Ugram Veeram Mahavishnum Jwalantam Sarvatomukam Narasimham Bhishanam Bhadram Mrutyum Namamyaham. Narsimha Bhagavan ki jai. Let's offer our humble obeisances to all the Vaishnava Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Vaishnava Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Let's chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, which is the Yuga Dharma of this Kali Yuga. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. भगवान श्री कृष्ण परमात्मा की जय. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय. गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mata.